The machine economy. The 21st century is no longer just about connecting people, it's about connecting machines. From smart cars and autonomous factories to household appliances and power grids, the Internet of Things, IoT, is transforming the way the world works. Billions of devices are coming online, all generating data, all demanding efficiency, all seeking to interact. But there's a problem. Our current financial infrastructure wasn't built for machines. Blockchains like Bitcoin and Ethereum proved digital value could be exchanged without intermediaries, but they remain slow, expensive, and resource-heavy. They were built for humans sending large transactions, not for machines sending microtransactions worth fractions of a cent. How can a smart car pay a toll automatically if fees exceed the payment itself? How can a washing machine sell excess solar energy to its neighbor if every transaction requires confirmation from a miner halfway around the world? How can billions of devices transact seamlessly without collapsing under scale? In 2015, four founders, David Sunstebo, Dominik Schiener, Sergey Ivancheglo, and Sergey Popov, proposed a radical solution. Instead of building on blockchain, they would create a new type of distributed ledger, one designed specifically for the machine economy. They called it IOTA. At its core was the Tangle, a Directed Acyclic Graph, DAGI, where each transaction validates two previous ones. No miners, no blocks, no transaction fees. The more activity, the faster the network. It was a bold departure from blockchain orthodoxy, a system not designed for speculation, but for a future where machines transact autonomously. The vision was breathtaking. Imagine self-driving cars paying for tolls, parking, and electricity without human input. Imagine smart homes trading excess energy automatically with the grid. Imagine factories where machines order their own parts and pay for them on delivery. In this world, machines don't just generate data, they generate value. And IOTA was built to be the ledger of that economy. But every bold vision comes with challenges. The Tangle's design sparked debate and scrutiny. To secure the network in its early years, IOTA relied on a central coordinator, raising questions about decentralization. The project faced technical hurdles, communication missteps, and skepticism from a crypto community focused more on speculation than industrial adoption. Yet through it all, IOTA pressed forward, forming partnerships with Volkswagen, Bosch, Jaguar Land Rover, and smart city initiatives across Europe and beyond. While critics dismissed it as overly ambitious, enterprises and governments saw the potential. For industries grappling with IoT, automation, and Industry 4.0, IOTA offered a glimpse of the infrastructure they would one day need. IOTA's story isn't like Bitcoin's fight against the banking system or Ethereum's revolution of smart contracts. It's quieter, more futuristic, more difficult to grasp. It isn't built for today's problems of speculation and DeFi. It's built for tomorrow's economy of machines. This is the untold story of IOTA, a project that dared to abandon blockchain itself. A vision not of humans trading tokens, but of billions of devices transacting value invisibly in the background of our lives. Welcome to IOTA, the Machine Economy. Part 1. The Birth of IOTA. The story of IOTA begins not in Wall Street boardrooms or Silicon Valley tech hubs, but in a simple yet profound observation. The world was changing, and blockchains weren't ready for it. By 2015, Bitcoin had proven that a peer-to-peer financial system could exist outside banks. Ethereum was rising, offering programmable smart contracts and a world of decentralized applications. Yet for all their breakthroughs, neither was built for the looming Internet of Things. The IoT revolution promised billions of interconnected devices, smart cars, sensors, appliances, drones, and factories, each generating streams of data and requiring tiny, constant exchanges of value. These weren't million-dollar wire transfers. They were micropayments, fractions of a cent at machine speed. But traditional blockchains came with built-in roadblocks. Every transaction carried a fee. Every confirmation required time. Every block depended on miners, consuming energy and slowing scalability. If machines were to transact autonomously, this system simply wouldn't work. Enter four visionaries: David Sunstebo, Dominik Schiener, Sergey Ivancheglo, and Sergey Popov. They believed the existing blockchain architecture was fundamentally flawed for IoT, so instead of building another blockchain, they decided to abandon blockchain altogether. Their answer was the Tangle, a Directed Acyclic Graph, DAG. In the Tangle, there are no blocks, no chains, no miners. Instead, Every transaction confirms two others. The more transactions occur, the faster and more secure the system becomes. Instead of fees, validation is built into the process. Machines could send value instantly and freely, no matter how small. This was a radical departure from Bitcoin's proof of work or Ethereum's mining-driven validation. It wasn't about humans sending money. It was about machines creating a new economy of value. From the very beginning, IOTA's purpose was clear: to power the machine-to-machine economy. A future where a self-driving car pays a charging station, where smart homes trade excess solar power, where sensors monetize their data streams, all without human intervention. The project quickly gained attention for its boldness. In a world dominated by blockchain maximalism, IOTA dared to suggest that blockchain itself was outdated for IoT. To many, this was revolutionary. To others, it was heresy. But ambition brings risk. The Tangle's complexity sparked debate among developers and researchers. Critics argued it was unproven at scale. Supporters saw it as the only way forward, and to secure the network during its fragile early stages, IOTA relied on a centralized node called the Coordinator. This decision, while practical for stability, drew criticism that IOTA wasn't truly decentralized. Still, the founders pressed on. They saw themselves not as another crypto project chasing speculation, but as builders of the infrastructure for the next industrial revolution, Industry 4.0. By 2016 and 2017, IOTA began forming partnerships with major enterprises like Bosch and Volkswagen. Unlike projects focused on retail hype, IOTA went directly to manufacturers, automakers, and governments. Its pitch was simple: the world is moving toward billions of devices, and those devices will need a ledger designed for them. The birth of IOTA wasn't about creating a coin for traders. It was about building a ledger for machines. And in doing so, it challenged the very definition of what a blockchain could be. The Tangle was new, it was untested, but it was visionary. And it positioned IOTA not as a cryptocurrency of the present, but as the infrastructure of the future. Next, the focus would shift from vision to technology, explaining how the Tangle worked, why it mattered, and why it could change everything we know about distributed ledgers. Part 2. The Tangle and Technology. Most people hear the word blockchain and assume it's the only way to build a decentralized ledger. But IOTA was born from the idea that blockchain itself, with its blocks, chains, and miners, was never going to scale for billions of machines. Instead, IOTA created something different: the Tangle. The Tangle is a Directed Acyclic Graph, DAG, a network structure that looks more like a web than a chain. In this system, every new transaction must validate two previous ones. Instead of waiting for miners to package transactions into blocks, users themselves confirm the network as they interact with it. This creates a fundamental shift. The more transactions that occur, the faster and more secure the network becomes. Unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, where heavy activity can clog the system and drive up fees, the Tangle thrives under load. For the Internet of Things, with billions of tiny, constant payments, this design is not just useful, it's essential. Another radical departure is fees. In Bitcoin and Ethereum, every transaction comes with a cost. That makes sense when humans are sending large amounts of money. But in a machine economy, transactions might be worth fractions of a cent. Fees would make them impossible. IOTA's Tangle eliminates fees entirely, enabling true microtransactions. This feeless design unlocks new business models. Imagine a car paying for road tolls on a per-meter basis, a washing machine selling excess solar energy back to the grid in real time, a sensor in a factory selling its data stream for fractions of a cent per second. None of these are possible with traditional blockchains. With IOTA, they become reality. The Tangle also promises greater scalability. Traditional blockchains slow down as networks grow, but with IOTA, each transaction strengthens the network by validating others. In theory, this makes the system infinitely scalable, capable of handling the flood of microtransactions a machine economy will demand. Yet innovation comes with complexity. The Tangle isn't as simple as a blockchain. Its design is harder to understand, harder to test, and harder to secure. To stabilize the network in its early stages, IOTA relied on a central authority called the Coordinator, which ensured transactions were confirmed correctly. While practical, this opened IOTA to criticism. Was it really decentralized or just another centralized system in disguise? The IOTA Foundation responded with a long-term plan called Coordicide. the eventual removal of the coordinator to create a fully decentralized Tangle. Coordicide promised to deliver the vision of a network without bottlenecks, without fees, and without central points of control. But as of today, it remains one of IOTA's greatest promises and greatest challenges. Security has also been a point of contention. Researchers questioned aspects of the cryptography IOTA used in its early years. Bugs and missteps in communication dented confidence. For a project promising to power the future of IoT and smart cities, even small technical doubts became magnified. Still, the theoretical advantages of the Tangle are enormous. A ledger that gets faster as it grows, a network with no fees, a system designed not for speculation, but for billions of autonomous machines. If IOTA can execute, it could enable an entirely new class of economic activity. But technology alone isn't enough. For IOTA to prove itself, it needed adoption. Enterprises and governments had to believe in its vision. Automakers, factories, and smart city planners needed to put the Tangle to the test. And that's exactly what came next. Some of the biggest partnerships in IOTA's history, designed to bring the machine economy closer to reality. Part 3. Partnerships and Adoption. For IOTA, vision was never enough. To prove that the Tangle could power a new economy, it needed real-world partners willing to test its potential. And from the very beginning, IOTA went after some of the biggest names in industry: automakers, engineering giants, and even governments. One of the earliest and most significant collaborations came with Bosch, the German engineering and technology powerhouse. Bosch has long been at the center of the automotive and industrial IoT revolution, building sensors and connected devices across countless industries. In 2017, Bosch announced a strategic partnership with IOTA, even acquiring a stake of MIOTA tokens. The goal: test IOTA's Tangle for secure machine-to-machine payments and data integrity. Then came Volkswagen. At the CeBIT conference in 2018, VW showcased its digital car pass built on IOTA. The concept was simple but powerful: log and secure vehicle data on the Tangle. Mileage, maintenance history, and usage could be recorded immutably, helping prevent fraud in used car markets. This partnership put IOTA on the map as a blockchain alternative for the automotive industry. Jaguar Land Rover also joined the movement, exploring ways for vehicles to earn cryptocurrency by sharing data. Cars could act as mobile sensors, reporting road conditions, traffic, or environmental data to city planners. In return, they would earn IOTA tokens, creating an incentive-driven ecosystem of data sharing. Beyond automotive, IOTA's vision expanded into smart cities. Cities across Europe, particularly in the Netherlands and Germany, began exploring how IOTA could help manage energy grids, mobility services, and urban data. In these pilots, sensors could communicate seamlessly, paying each other for services like data transmission or energy usage in real time. The energy sector also became a frontier. IOTA was tested in decentralized energy grids where households with solar panels could sell excess power directly to their neighbors. The Tangle enabled real-time microtransactions, allowing electricity to be priced and exchanged dynamically. Governments and research institutions took notice. The European Union funded multiple projects with IOTA at the core, including mobility as a service frameworks and data marketplaces. The IOTA Foundation was invited to contribute to discussions on smart cities and Industry 4.0, giving it a level of credibility most blockchain projects never achieved. Perhaps one of the most ambitious ideas was the data marketplace. In 2017, IOTA announced a pilot where sensor data from weather stations, vehicles, and industrial equipment could be bought and sold on the Tangle. Companies like Bosch and Microsoft participated in early tests. The idea was to create a global marketplace where machines and corporations could monetize their unused data securely and automatically. These partnerships set IOTA apart from speculative crypto projects. While others chased retail hype and token price pumps, IOTA was building bridges with enterprises and institutions. Its focus was clear: become the backbone of the machine economy. But adoption wasn't without obstacles. Many pilots remained just that, pilots. Proof-of-concept demonstrations often didn't scale into production systems. Critics pointed out that while IOTA excelled at attracting attention, real deployment lagged behind. The reliance on the coordinator also limited full decentralization, raising questions for enterprises about security and resilience. Still, the partnerships proved a key point. The world was hungry for IOTA's vision. Automakers wanted it. Energy companies wanted it. Governments wanted it. And while execution challenges slowed progress, the concept of a ledger designed for machines had taken root. For IOTA, these partnerships weren't the end game. They were the proof points that a machine economy was possible. The next challenge was showing how, in practice, this economy of autonomous devices could work, and why IOTA believed it was essential for the future of global commerce. Part 4. IOTA in the machine economy. Imagine a world where machines don't just serve humans. They transact, negotiate, and optimize among themselves. This is the vision of the machine economy, and at its core sits the need for a ledger that machines can use seamlessly. IOTA was built to be that ledger. Take self-driving cars. In the future, vehicles won't just transport passengers. They'll interact with infrastructure and services autonomously. A car approaching a toll booth shouldn't wait for human input or rely on clunky payment systems. With IOTA, it can pay the toll instantly. At a charging station, the car plugs in, consumes electricity, and settles the bill directly with the grid using microtransactions. If it needs a software update, it can pay the service provider automatically. No banks, no delays, no human intermediaries. Now look at smart homes. Solar panels on rooftops generate excess energy. Instead of waiting for monthly settlements with utility companies, smart appliances can trade electricity peer-to-peer with neighbors in real time. One home sells surplus power while another buys it instantly, with IOTA's Tangle ensuring transparent, feeless settlement. In factories, machines could become economic agents in their own right. A robotic arm running low on components could order more from a supplier, confirm delivery, and pay upon arrival. Sensors could track the shipment, and smart contracts could trigger payments automatically once conditions are met. Supply chains become self-regulating, reducing inefficiency and human error. Then there's data. In the machine economy, data itself is currency. Cars generate traffic data. Weather stations collect environmental data. Industrial sensors monitor performance. With IOTA, these streams of information can be tokenized and sold in real time on data marketplaces. A car stuck in traffic could sell road condition data to navigation services. A weather sensor could sell hyper-local climate data to an energy provider. Every machine becomes both a producer and consumer of value. This is the vision of Industry 4.0, where automation, IoT, and AI converge. Factories that self-optimize, energy grids that balance themselves, cities that regulate mobility and services in real time. To function, they need a payment and data settlement layer that is scalable, feeless, and machine-friendly. Traditional blockchains can't provide this. IOTA claims it can. The advantages are clear. Scalability. More transactions make the system stronger. Feeless design. Essential for micropayments between machines. Eco-friendly. No energy-intensive mining. Data integrity. Every transaction and data point immutably recorded. Yet the challenges remain equally real. The Tangle's unique design is still unproven at massive global scale. The reliance on the coordinator has delayed full decentralization, and the leap from pilots to production has been slower than many hoped. Even so, the machine economy isn't optional, it's inevitable. Billions of devices are coming online. Global commerce is digitizing. Energy grids, mobility systems, and factories are becoming smarter. The question isn't whether machines will transact, it's what infrastructure they'll use to do it. IOTA believes it can be that infrastructure. If successful, it won't just power payments. It will reshape industries. It will make supply chains autonomous. It will turn every device into an economic actor. It will redefine value exchange in a world where humans aren't the only participants in the economy. This is IOTA's promise. Not just another cryptocurrency, but the foundation of the machine-to-machine Internet of Value. The future, however, is uncertain. To get there, IOTA must solve decentralization, scale beyond pilots, and prove it can deliver on its bold vision. That brings us to the final chapter, where IOTA stands today and where it might go in the years to come. Part 5. The future of IOTA. The future of IOTA hinges on a single question. Can it deliver on the vision it set out nearly a decade ago? A ledger not for humans, but for machines. A system where billions of devices transact seamlessly, autonomously, and at scale. Central to this future is Coordicide, IOTA's long-promised upgrade to remove the centralized coordinator. For years, critics have pointed to the coordinator as proof that IOTA isn't truly decentralized. The IOTA Foundation has responded by developing a roadmap to eliminate it, replacing it with a fully self-regulating, decentralized Tangle. If Coordicide succeeds, it will silence critics and unlock the credibility IOTA needs to become the backbone of the machine economy. The stakes are enormous. A decentralized, scalable, feeless network would be a breakthrough not just for crypto, but for IoT, Industry 4.0, and smart cities. Billions of microtransactions, too small and too frequent for traditional blockchains, could flow seamlessly across the Tangle. Machines could interact economically as easily as humans use payment apps today. Consider the possibilities. Smart cities where cars, buses, and sensors exchange value and data automatically. Energy grids where homes, factories, and power plants trade electricity in real time. Healthcare systems where medical devices securely share data with hospitals and insurers. Global supply chains where machines negotiate, pay, and optimize logistics without human intervention. In this world, humans wouldn't even notice most IOTA transactions. They'd happen in the background, silently powering the flow of goods, services, and information. The Tangle would become invisible infrastructure, as essential yet unnoticed as electricity or the internet. But there are risks. Technical execution has always been IOTA's greatest challenge. Coordicide has been delayed multiple times. Competing protocols, from DAG-based networks like Hedera and Nano, to IoT-focused chains and even traditional blockchains experimenting with Layer 2 scaling, are racing to capture the same vision. Trust, once shaken by early missteps and communication issues, must be rebuilt. And then there's adoption. While IOTA has seen pilots with Volkswagen, Bosch, Jaguar Land Rover, and EU-backed smart city projects, scaling those into production systems remains slow. Enterprises are cautious, governments are methodical. The transition from pilot to infrastructure is one of the toughest bridges any blockchain, or non-blockchain, must cross. Still, the speculative arc is undeniable. If the Internet of Value is about more than just humans and institutions, if it includes the billions of machines that will define the 21st century, then IOTA is uniquely positioned. It was designed for this moment, for a world where data and value flow as one, where machines transact autonomously, where the economy becomes not just digital, but machine native. For investors, this makes IOTA both high risk and high reward. It may stumble, it may be outpaced, but if it succeeds, it could sit alongside XRP, Quant, and Chainlink as one of the most critical networks of the Internet of Value, the ledger that gave machines an economy of their own. The future of IOTA is uncertain, but its mission remains as bold as ever, to be the invisible infrastructure of the machine economy. A system not for speculation, but for the silent transactions powering the world of tomorrow. This is IOTA's bet, and if it pays off, it could redefine what it means to live in a connected world. The machine economy, the Internet of Value, isn't just about people or banks. It's about the billions of devices that will define the future. Cars, factories, grids, sensors, machines that will transact, negotiate, and optimize, invisibly in the background of our lives. IOTA was built for them. Not for speculation, not for Wall Street, but for the machine economy, a world where value flows as seamlessly as data, and where every device becomes part of a global network of trust. The road has been long, the challenges are real, but the vision is undeniable. If IOTA succeeds, it could become the invisible backbone of the machine-to-machine Internet of Value. Here at LTL Productions, we uncover the untold stories of crypto, the networks quietly preparing the rails for tomorrow. Stories beyond hype, stories that matter. Subscribe to LTL Productions right now. Share this video with someone who thinks crypto is only about speculation. And join us as we continue revealing the hidden architecture of the digital future. This is LTL Productions. The machine economy is coming. Will you be ready?